and I will turn the comments off at that time. Right now, I'm just waiting to watch for my guest to arrive so I can pull him out of the audience and put him on the live screen. So I hope you'll stick around, learn about addiction recovery, learn about someone's story. My guest will be sharing his story, and then we'll just kind of get into it. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of addiction and recovery like I did last week with my previous guest. You never know what's going to happen. So, okay, my lips are getting dry now. Oh, God. What do you do about the lights? The lights are just too bright. And this is only one light. I don't have two lights up. It's only one. Good evening. I just thought of something. All right, we are waiting for my guest to join. I am going live at 7:30 with a guest. We're going to talk to him and ask him about his story, his recovery story. I asked him to let me know when he gets in here because these comments are kind of piled on one another, and so I can't always tell. I don't know what's going on with my hair, but yeah. So I got on my Christmas pajamas. I'm feeling fly. Okay, I do not see my guest. Okay, we got 2 minutes or I will fire my guest. Okay. I'm gonna fire my guest. Now he's got 2 minutes. We're good. My lips are dry. Let me get some chapstick, okay? The lights are blinding and dehydrating. Wah, 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 wah. Okay, I'm back. There he is. Wait, I think. No. Okay, we are live. Here we go. Okay, what's happening? There we go. Whoa, okay, let me fix the screen.
Oh.
Hello.
Oh.
Let me get adjusted here.
Okay. I'm
It
trying
goes.
to do the same thing. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay. So when I had the whole screen to myself, but then when I went live with you, it split screen, so I realized I was off center. I was like way down here. So
Okay.
Can you see me okay? I see you perfectly.
And your Christmas PJs.
I'm all about it. Okay, we only got a few months left until Christmas holiday season is here. So it's a magical time of the year for me. So we're going to get right to it. So welcome to Warrior Wednesday Recovery Chat. I have a special guest tonight. Tim is joining us all the way from Savannah, Georgia. Welcome, Tim.
Via Chicago.
What?
Via Chicago. See, I'm not from Savannah.
But you live there, right?
I live there now, yes.
Okay, I'm going to turn off my commenting because that's very distracting. So remind me how I met you. Was I visiting Savannah and you saw my post or something? How did we connect?
Well, I started watching your posts when you were doing your handstand things in your little nook, and then some of the things that you said and you expressed, some of them touched my heart. Some of them were very funny. Like I kind of liked the one about when you were walking in the rain and you just laid down in the rain. I think you had somebody pass away during that time. And it really touched me. You know what I mean? It really touched me. And then the other stuff is just funny. So
okay.
I started following you right? And then I would message you every now and then, and you would kind of respond, and then you started following me, and then the rest is history.
Yeah. So, wow, you already got me crying. There's a story behind that, and this wasn't going to be about me, but I couldn't remember exactly how we met. But when I follow somebody, that means that I'm feeling secure and safe, because I
Yeah,
just got to tell you, I do get a lot of DMs,
yeah,
and I guess a lot of women get a lot of DMs,
yeah.
and um, so it takes me a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so here we are. But I will give you a little backstory. Savannah, Georgia, and again, this is not going to be about me, but you already brought me to tears, okay? So I'm no Barbara Walters here. But yes, that I created that post at TikTok originally. It was a song that made me think about my father, whom we never reconciled. We never had a relationship. We Is that your phone?
Yes, but I have two. I'm like
Okay.
Kevin Gates, but I just muted it. So
Okay. Okay. I just didn't know if you need to take it.
no.
But okay, so anyway, I got daddy issues big time, and
Mm,
I was just feeling something about him, and we had been estranged for a couple of years. And the last time I had talked to him was 2019 in August. He sent me a birthday card, and then that was it. And anyway, so I created that video. I can't remember the name of the song, but anyway, it was emotional, and I don't know if I prophesied his passing or I had a feeling that he would be passing. I don't know what it was. He wasn't sick. But I mean, he was getting older. But anyway, and then he died. And I did go to Savannah to his funeral, um, November of 2020. It was during the pandemic. And I was almost not going to go. But I did go. And then I reposted that video, and it was like I had no idea at the time that I posted this that but anyway, so it's over. I'll never get his validation. I will never. That door has closed. There was always a little hope, a little dream that my daddy would give me some validation, and it's not going to happen. So I'm so glad that you followed me, and now here we are, and we have similar pathways as far as the peer support goes.
yeah.
But I want to get right to it after all that delay. Sorry about that, but you got me choked up. Can I ask you, first of all, so you're in recovery, for those that don't know,
Yeah.
and you completely abstain from all drugs and alcohol?
Yes, everything.
And how long have you been in recovery?
Since October 28th of 1996, which is 20 October of this year, the end of October will be 26 years that I've been free from everything.
That's amazing. Wonderful. So I
It blows my
actually
mind.
what?
It blows my mind too.
Well, and I don't know you, so I don't have anything to compare it to. Like, people that meet me today would not know, they don't have anything to compare me to. So, it's not shocking to me, but obviously you have a story. Um, so one of the things I would like to know is, I don't really know how to, let's see. I do want to ask what your why is, but can you just talk to me, tell me how you found recovery? Do you remember, do you recall what led to you making that decision?
Yes. Well, living in Chicago, it's a big city. There was what actually led me into the substances was a lot of peer pressure. Growing up, I think, I wasn't like some people that tell their story when they started at, 8 or 10 or 12 or something like that. Mine started about freshman year of high school. And my friends used to smoke weed, and they would pass it around. We would sit under my friend's porch and watch the Cubs games. And they would pass this pipe with marijuana. And when it came to me, I would just pass it to the next person. And then the peer pressure got on because they wanted to know why I wasn't partaking in it. And I says, it's nothing. It's not going to do anything. And finally, I gave in, and that started my journey. my downhill journey, that is. And then it was like once I got accustomed to that, then it was like the floodgates were open. Anything that they were going to try, I would try, from LSD to pills to um, you name it, just about, almost. So that led me, that's how I got started.
Were you struggling with depression or anything at the time that made that you so vulnerable to fall into the addiction?
No, I think, you know what? When I was really young, and we had moved into the suburbs of Oak Park then. I did see a therapist for a little while because I thought I didn't have any friends,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to commit suicide. And I told my mother about this, and I think now looking back that you're asking me, because nobody ever really asked me, I think it was to gain acceptance, like to be a part of something, because I always felt a part and not a part of.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I mean, feeling like the odd one.
Yes,
The,
I was the odd one. I was the odd one. My family ostracized me. My not my immediate family, but my other family, because I was well educated. I spoke well. Whenever I went to family events, I was described as the one that talks white, because I had an education. I could read. I could spell. I had all these things going for me that I thought was good.
mm-hmm.
And then I was shamed. I felt shamed when I was around like my cousins and stuff like that.
Right, right. And I always thought I was the black sheep of the family. And now I look back and think I was actually, I don't want to say normal, but I was like, it's like maybe I was I don't know. I don't think we were the black sheep of the family or the odd one or whatever. I think it's all the other people had
Yes.
issues and caused me to develop issues. I don't know. so,
Yeah.
so you fell into, I've heard of people falling into addiction from peer pressure. I mean, but by that point you're addicted. And it's all probably fun and new and exciting and community and all that. So when did you realize you had a problem? Or
Uh,
how did you realize it?
it took a long time, because for many years, I thought I was having fun.
Mm.
Um, and then I went into the military at a young age. I was 17 when I went into the military. And I had the big party. There was always a one-upmanship in the military where, if you say what you guys did tonight, then the next group of guys will try to best you. They'll say, oh, well, we drank this much, or we had this. There was always one-upmanship. So when I got out of the military, um, and I started my normal journey, I had actually got kicked out of the military, but because I had a DUI there and I had a positive drug test, I got out 10 months early. They gave me the choice to get a dishonorable discharge or a general under honorable conditions, where I would still get all my benefits. So of course I took Plan B.
Okay.
I didn't want to.
Wow.
So anyway, I came home, and then one thing led to another, and you know, the coming up with the money, and it was just a lot of things just started happening, and before I knew it, I started committing little crimes in order to support my habit. That's when
Mm.
it got really out of control. It was fun for a while, but I noticed that, like, I would get paid, and then my paycheck wouldn't last. I would be broke in 2 days after working, crazy hours, and getting these huge paychecks. And then I wouldn't have any money, and I would have to end up asking my mother to give me money to get to work the next day, the next week. Or one time I rode a bike about 15 miles one way to get to work, because I was ashamed to ask her for the money to get to work. And then when I started doing other things to make income, to make money, or whatever, trade material in order to further my disease. I started going to jail. I started going to jail. I was never really a criminal. I never broke into nobody's house. I never robbed anybody. I was never that type of guy. But I would go in the store and pick up anything that wasn't laid down, nailed down, and walk out with it and try to use that to sell or to trade, to further my thing. So I started going to jail a lot. And, part of my story is that I was in about every lockup in the city of Chicago, every single one. And then I would only do so much because I knew what a misdemeanor theft charge was, how much, and I knew what a felony was, so I told the line. I never did enough to get a felony, but I always did misdemeanors. But after so many times of getting caught with misdemeanors, they gave me what they call a petty with a prior. So because I had a prior conviction for a misdemeanor, they lumped them together, served me a felony. I went to prison twice, small periods of time, but nonetheless, I went. And people that I would meet along the way, either that were in prison, a lot of times it was the guards. They would sit there and we would strike up a conversation, and they looked at me and they said, "What are you doing here? You don't seem like the type of guy that belongs here." Everybody believed in me, except I didn't believe in myself. I thought, they always said, "Oh, how smart you are, how handsome you are," all these things, but I didn't believe it because my self-esteem was so low that, I thought they wanted something from me when they were telling me these things. So going to jail, people telling me that I didn't belong there, people reaching out to do things for me. My pastor of my church that I was a part of came and picked me up on the west side of Chicago at 3 o'clock in the morning, put me in a hotel for a couple of days. And at that time I smoked cigarettes. I asked him to buy me some cigarettes, and he didn't smoke. He said, "Timothy," he said, "you know what? I don't smoke and I don't condone it." He said, "I'm going to do it this one time." So I had a lot of love on one side, my immediate family, and then my church family. But then, you know, it was so unmanageable that no matter how I tried to stop, I couldn't. And I realized that I needed to do something about it. I needed to get more serious about it.
And what did you do?
Well, because I'm a veteran and I did have benefits, I searched around and I found a program up near Great Lakes Navy Base. Okay. So I moved clear across town, and it was kind of funny because you have to call in and try to get in there yourself. So when I called the guy and he was saying, he was one of the counselors, he says, "Oh yeah, well, what kind of drugs are you doing? What kind of things are you doing?" And I minimized it because I didn't want it to seem that bad. I wanted to seem like I just like to party. So after I told him all the things that I had done, a lot of the things anyway, he says, "Oh, you don't have a problem. You just like to party." Click, and he hangs up the phone on me. And I was scared, and my mom was right there because I lived in her house till I was like early 30s, right in my early 30s. And so she told me at that time, she says, "Tim," she says, "if I could do it for you, I would do it." So I had to call back, and the guy got on the phone, and I told him who I was, and he was getting ready to end the call. I said, "Wait, wait, wait." I said, "I have to be honest with you." And I started telling him the truth. It just started pouring out of me. And they set up a date for me to go there. And by this time, my mother wouldn't let me sleep in her house. It was cold, so we had a screened-in patio attached to the garage, and I slept out there on one of those long beach chairs with about 5 or 6 blankets. She used to carry a TV, a 27-inch TV, from the screened-in patio into the house every morning to keep me from stealing it. And then, another thing that happened that, I was always the love of my mom. I'm the only son. I'm the oldest child. I'm the oldest grandchild. They all loved me. You know what I'm saying? My cousins looked up to me. Me and my mother worked at the same place. We worked at this hospital. And at the time, I was working in food service, and I would bring her lunch every day. And we would chat for a few minutes. And she always showed me love. And one day she said to me, she says, Tim, she says, you don't have to bring me lunch anymore. And I said to her, why? And she looked at me, and this was really hard for me to accept this for a long time. And I get a little emotional about it too. But she said that she didn't want anybody to know that I was her son. And that hurt me. That hurt me. You know, so then I knew that I had to do something, because my mother has never talked to me that way. We've always had a loving, caring relationship, me and my mother and my sister. So when I got through to the VA, I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be a 30-day program. It's no problem. And then when they told me that the program that I was about to enter was 18 months.
Oh.
I said, well, I don't know if I want to do. Started backpedaling now, right? Because I'm thinking, you know what? No. I'm not giving up 18 months of my life. That's what I was thinking. But then on the other hand, I had to be honest with myself, and I said, you know what? 30 days isn't going to do nothing. So I agreed to go in, and I went into this 18-month drug treatment program. And that was my journey. They would take us to meetings. They made us save 2/3 of our money. They had all kinds of things. It was a behavior modification program. So they did some things that sometimes humiliated you in front of your peers. You had to do things to, like, let your guard down and make these people your family. You had to do things like get in front of everybody and sing a song, or do something, tell some jokes or something to, to gain their approval and be a part of the family.
So you did go for the 18 months, and then the rest is history?
Well, I got out, and I moved back to the city where my mother was living. I went back to my job that I had, because I went through the employee assistance program, and I had a counselor that I was working with, so it saved my job. It saved me from getting fired.
That's amazing.
So I went back there. I started working again. I found out real quick that some of my coworkers were taking bets on how long I was going to stay clean. All I did was go to meetings. I went to meetings all the time. We called it up there the Stay Clean Club. It wasn't really recovery. So all I did was go to meetings. I went to some events. I accumulated about 2 years of just being clean. That's it. Wasn't working a program, did no service work, didn't have a sponsor, none of that stuff. And so I thought that I was okay. So I went to a friend's house that I worked with. We used to go to his house and get high, because his wife worked second shift. We worked first shift. So we would go there and we would get high most of the night. So I go over to his house, and I'm hanging out, testing myself, thinking that I'm testing myself, right? And people were walking around. It was like Night of the Living Dead. People walking around like zombies, doing this, doing that, doing all that stuff. I'm sitting there drinking Clearly Canadian sparkling water. I had like $300 in my pocket. I'm feeling on top of the world. I'm like, you know what, man? I can do this. This is easy, right? I did that a couple too many times. And before I knew it, I was right back in it again. And it was like the time that I had didn't even exist. The 2 years that I started didn't even exist. And so I started them, and then, like, the relapse caused an extreme amount of shame, guilt, embarrassment. Oh man, it was so many feelings, worthlessness. I felt like a failure. I wanted to go to school to be a substance abuse counselor, and I'm thinking to myself, how can I help somebody else get clean if I can't get clean? So I went through the whole thing again. I started going to jail and doing all these things. And one time, while I was in prison, I wrote a letter to the VA hospital. And I told them who I was. I said, listen, I want to come back in the program. And because I had completed, they said, okay, and they allowed me to come back. And I went back again for a second time. And that after that second time of going into treatment, right, I never looked back because I knew right then, I knew all the feelings and the expectations. And, you know, I had like this guy was like a sponsor in name. And after I relapsed and I had all these feelings, I called him and told him that I got high. And he suggested that I read this chapter in the Narcotics Anonymous book. And that chapter told me everything that I was going to do prior to putting anything in my body. And that blew my mind. I said, oh, my God, I can't believe it. Like these people knew who I was, right? And this book had been around for a long time. But then that's when I put more effort into it. I put a little more effort into it to try to get a little bit more time, a little bit more understanding, and try to practice the things that the people were doing. Because when I started going back to meetings, the same people were there that when I left. And I asked them, I said, what did you do? And they told me they worked steps. They had a sponsor. They did service work, all these things that I didn't do. So I said, well, let me try it your way. And then the rest was history. Never looked back.
That's amazing. So we touched on this last week, me and the young lady that was in, I guess, live last week. At the very end, we touched on how it's more than just getting clean. You have to do the work. And so it sounds like it took you a minute to get that.
Yes.
So, but you got it. So that's all that matters. Because I think we touched on that because I recalled a young gentleman in his 20s was struggling, but he got clean and was just had all these bright ideas. Maybe that pink cloud thing, I'm not sure. But he wasn't doing any kind of recovery work. And so, and you know, you got to just kind of like, you can't judge or whatnot, but you want to like tell people, well, this is what's going to happen. You know, but I did ask him, I did say, are you working any kind of program? And he said, no, but I've been to jail enough to teach me some things or whatever. But it sounds a lot like you, because jail is not recovery. Just going into a program is not recovery if you're not actually working the steps. So it sounds like AA was your pathway?
Well, in the beginning, for the first 18 years, it was strictly Narcotics Anonymous.
Okay.
See, I knew.
I mean, yeah, Narcotics Anonymous. Yeah, I'm sorry. I get the two mixed up.
Because, you know, and it's just for me, you know, everybody has to find their own path. But for me, I'm sorry, I was making some coffee. I needed some coffee.
You're fine.
Just for me, um, in Narcotics Anonymous, in the readings, it says alcohol is a drug. Alcohol wasn't my main problem. It was always the lubricant. It was something that got me started or ended my runs. You know, either I was too high and I tried to bring myself down with alcohol, or, you know, so I never really thought that I had a problem with alcohol. But I had to be honest with myself when I started going to AA meetings. I had to say, I didn't feel comfortable saying I was an alcoholic. But then I looked at it and I says, well, Tim, you had a DUI and you totaled your car over in Germany. What the hell you mean you're not an alcoholic? You know, I would wake up in the morning, I would drink a beer, you know, whatever, you know, I would drink in the morning. I would drink uncontrollably through the night. There were times when I woke up, when I was in the military, when I woke up and I brushed my teeth, I smoked a cigarette, I ate breakfast, took a shower, all these things. And I go out to formation to go to work, and I still smelled like alcohol. And my boss used to ask me, he said, have you been drinking? I said, no, I went out last night. And that was another thing that let me know that I had a problem. But Narcotics Anonymous was my pathway for 18 years. And then I started going to both because they all talk about the same thing. The steps are the same. The traditions are the same. It's just the word that you change from drugs to alcohol. You know, so if I had any problem with any of them, I go to both. And plus, see, back in the day, it's dating myself, but back in the day when I went to an AA meeting, and you mentioned drugs, they would kindly tap you on the shoulder and say that meeting is down the street. And it shamed me to be an addict, to be somebody that primarily used drugs, even though I abused alcohol too. So it shamed me. So then I just started going strictly to Narcotics Anonymous meetings until after some years in recovery, then it was more acceptable to talk about other issues or other substances.
I've heard of that happening. I hate that. I don't really understand it. And I will tell you, that is not my pathway. And it was not my pathway, but I did try when I was in a treatment program. It's not even a a recovery program. And I was there. My dad was paying my way. Anyway, I left because I just can't do with I'm a nonconformist, so I had a hard time with all the regimen and the timely schedule and all that. So it wasn't for me, either NA or AA. But the thing that you just touched on is something that my therapist pointed out to me early in my recovery is I don't know. I was like, I don't want to do the 12 steps. I don't know. I was just bitching about the 12 steps or something. And I don't know what it was, but she's like, hold on. And so she pulls out the 12 steps and she goes one by one. I mean, I think I was 2 years into my recovery because I phased out of therapy at 2 years. And anyway, she went down one by one of the steps, and I had literally been working them and not even knowing that I was working them. So I think those 12 steps are pivotal to any program. We just don't really realize we're doing it. So there's definitely some concrete research behind there. And
Yeah.
but no, yeah, I know you're right. Every program isn't for everybody. It was not the program for me. And but all that matters is you found something that worked for you. And now, are you actively still going to meetings?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, tonight is a meeting night. However, not only do I get the pleasure of being with you tonight, I got a dog. I wanted a dog for so long. I haven't had a dog since I was a little kid. And, when I moved here to Savannah, I was able to get my stuff in order. I bought a house. This house. I live in this house by myself. I got a really good job, 2 really good jobs. And so I wanted a dog. I really wanted, so I got this dog. He's chewing on this little thing right now. So that's why he's not bothering me. I had to put him back over there. But, that's why I'm here. Normally I go to 3, 4 meetings, 5 meetings a week.
That's amazing.
Because you know what? I've established connections there. I've got some friends, some people that I can count on, some people that love me regardless of who I am, and they're willing to help me, and they believe in me. You know what I mean? They encourage and support me no matter what I want to do. Even though I moved clear across country and I've just been here like 3 years, these people are loving and caring. It said a lot of people have a problem with the higher power thing, right? So the definition that I was taught was it has to be loving, caring, and greater than you. So the people that I met were loving and caring, and it was more of them than me. So that fit my higher power in the beginning. And I used the group and the people in the group that I made friends with as my higher power. And so, that was my pathway. But I go to a lot of meetings. I do speaking engagements. I've been to several conventions where I was the speaker. And, when I moved here, every other week I was speaking at either a treatment center, some event, or something like that. They pulled me in, and, I did that. So, yeah.
That's amazing. And thank you for sacrificing a night of meeting to join me. And this is kind of like a meeting because it's still it's on your path to it's on your recovery path. So it's not like we're sitting over here talking about baseball or anything.
Well, I'm gonna tell the thing with me is recovery is it's a job, right? It's a lot of things, but the primary thing that is It's the passion. Because I remember when I was younger and I told my mother, it was before my 25th birthday, I told my mother that I wasn't going to live to see 22. And that hurt her. And I envisioned my death in some basement, sitting on a milk crate with a crack pipe in my mouth, or the victim of some kind of crime, or the victim of some kind of violence due to a crime that I committed in order to get more. So because I was able to have some success, right? It's never over, right? So I'm just successful today. I didn't use anything today, right? So it allows me, that's where that passion comes from, because you know what, I didn't believe that it was possible, and the people showed me it was possible, and then some of my efforts showed me that it was possible, and I could do so many things, and my life has improved 10,000 times. And that's where the passion for it goes, because I've always been a helping person. I've always had jobs in social services. I've worked with autistic children that I love. I've worked with sex offender youth that I loved. I ended up being a supervisor, working with sex offenders, and I've always had a passion for helping people. And this passion allows me to continue and to help other people, even just telling my story, even being here with you.
That's amazing. And I can already tell that about you just from, over the past few years of us just, ever so often talking. And you always leave little cute little comments on my posts. And that's how I know you're a good guy, because you're not leaving some lewd comment. You
Yeah.
never have. And so it's like, oh, he's legit. Okay. And I just get excited when someone wants to pick my brain or talk about recovery. All the other stuff, I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, so, what is your why?
My why?
Yeah, why? Why do you get up every day and stay clean and sober and on the right path, the right path that's right for you? Like, why? Why do you keep doing it?
Because I enjoy living.
All right, I love it.
I know that if I didn't, that my life would be cut short.
So,
My life would be cut short. I'm sorry, I gotta let this dog outside. He's probably gotta pee. But my life would be cut short. I would hurt a lot of people. I have adult children, my mother, my sister. All of these people would be hurt, by me going out and doing the things that I normally would do. Sorry. And let's see. And I know that my life would be cut short. My life would be cut short. I hope you don't mind. I'm sitting outside now.
oh no, you're fine. I 100%. Well, I can't say that, but I say 100% that my life, I would not be here. Okay, let me just put it to you
Right.
that way.
Yep.
There are times that I recall that I'm not sure. Well, I am sure why. It's because the great man above, but I don't know why I'm still alive. And the only way I am still alive is because God had other plans for me, and God is my higher power, as are other things. But um, like I used to question, why did I wake up after taking all those oxycontins, chewing them up, and I woke up like I'm still here. I mean, so there's been so many times I probably did die in my sleep, but maybe gagged or came back to life. I don't know what happened, um, but I can tell you I would not still be here if I hadn't turned it around some way or someone. And I will tell you, I was scared to death to go to jail. So that was kind of like, I came so close. I don't know how I didn't land in jail, but I used to tell people I would not survive jail. I wouldn't survive prison, I wouldn't survive jail, much less prison. Anyway, I've never been arrested in my life.
Yeah.
So, but that was kind of like, the fear of that was like, you better do something because you're real close.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I thought the same way. I thought, cause see, I'm not built like that. I'm not some, 6'3", 6'4" guy, 250 pounds. I was never in a gang, so I didn't think I was gonna make it either. But you know what? For some reason, the man above made me go through that.
Mm.
I don't even say I was arrested. I say I was rescued. God saved me from me, right? Because it kept me from getting my hands on what I wanted to get my hands on in order to go further down the rabbit hole. So um I made it through those things, and then like then people around me that I knew, that I had taken the meetings, that I had fellowship with and stuff like that, they started dying. People started dying. In my years, there's probably 50 people that I know that have passed, women that have left children wondering why. Um, Families that are wondering why. And they may have tried multiple times, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't make it this time doesn't mean that it's not for you. You know what I mean? And not everybody's, as fortunate as I have been. Like, I went through treatment 2 times and that was it. I know one guy, they call him the one-time wonder because he went through it one time. He didn't even go to treatment. He stopped. He started doing all the steps. He started working with sponsors. He started sponsoring people. And this guy's got like 32 years or more. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So there's a lot of reasons why. The main thing is that today I love my life. You know what I mean? It might not be perfect, but it's a whole lot better than it used to be. Like I like a lot of live music. I go to like concerts and stuff down here all the time. I go to some drinking establishments. We got to go in. There's some drinking establishments, sorry, that have live music.
Mm-hmm.
I go to those places and I get and sometimes I get like 3 or 4 hours sleep most days, right? Most days. But I'm still on time for work every day. See,
Oh, that's
that was
awesome.
never me. I used to get paid on a Wednesday. They gave me off on Thursday because they knew that I wasn't going to come to work the day after payday, right? Because I was going to be out getting high somewhere. Sometimes I wouldn't show back up to work until Monday of the following week. So today I can go out and I can go and have a great time, enjoy myself, and I can get up and I can take a part of life. I can enjoy, going outside with the dog right now,
Mm-hmm.
watching him run around. We roll on the ground and play and stuff like that. I can enjoy going to the beach and watching the wildlife and being able to travel and go places. They actually gave a guy like me a passport. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, come on now.
Have you used it?
You know what? No. My sister
Well, it
did.
doesn't matter. That's.
But see, I moved from my mother's house. My mother lives about 4 miles away. I lived in my mother's house for a while. I moved here. The passport is here. I got the card and the book. I got the card in my wallet, but I need to find the book because there's some places that I want to go and some, things. But I've traveled, in the United States, lots of places, but I want to go out of the country. I haven't been out of the country since I was in the military.
Well, no, that's awesome. That's just a huge thing right then and there, and you're ready to go at a moment's notice now anyway. So how cool is that?
I'm ready
And,
to go. I'm
and
ready.
while you were talking about that, what I'm hearing you describe is freedom, because freedom is how I describe my life right now. Like I'm free of the chains. I'm free.
Yeah,
I live in a small studio apartment. Where you see me sitting, I'm in the middle of my apartment. Okay, it's a
uh-huh,
studio apartment,
right.
but it's all location, location, location. It's a really nice part of the city that I want to be in, and so I took what I could get. And you have
Yeah,
to hop on these, but I lay in bed and I'm thinking, like, I pinch myself every day. I'm not where I probably would have been if I had never strayed off my path,
right.
but I am alive and I started all over and I have all the things. I don't have my own home. And that's just not in the cards for me right now. I'm not looking for it, but that's amazing that you did that. But I guess I could if I wanted to.
Yes, you.
But yeah, just the freedom. I mean, it's like I have everything I need. I don't want for anything. And nobody's coming after me. Nobody's looking for me. I mean, literally nobody.
Right, right.
But yeah, it's just freedom. It's just so much freedom. And yeah, you get your freedom back when you give up all that crap and that addiction, and then the healing. The healing. I
Yes.
roll my eyes because you have to do that work that goes with it, and I'll
Uh,
be doing the work for the rest of my life.
ye-
So
yes.
yeah.
And then not only that, being able to carry a message of hope to other people, to say, hey, you know what? I was just like you. I did the same things that you did. And I probably hung out in the same places you hung out in. And you know what? I was able to be successful. There's a lot of things that I've overcome on my journey, which some things that a lot of people find difficult, like, you know, taking medication. Remember you messaged me yesterday and we talked about that? I didn't know how that was going to work. I had surgery one time and the doctor prescribed me a narcotic medication. And so I was afraid of taking it, but I was also afraid of the pain that I may have had and if anything else did not work. So at that time, I let somebody, uh, you know, live in my apartment. I had like a roommate because I had a 2-bedroom apartment up there. And I allowed them to know what was going on. And I said,
Mhm.
listen, I need you to help dispense this medication to me.
Right.
I can't just say, hey, I can do it by myself because I could never do it alone. I tried doing it alone for so many times, and it's okay. Some people don't think it's okay to ask for help. I tell people like, you know, I'm a big Jordan fan because, of course, coming from Chicago. But, Michael Jordan doesn't play basketball anymore, but I guarantee you he thinks about playing basketball every day. Well, what do you think we think about?
Oh.
We think about drinking. We think about using. We think about all of the places we used to go and the things that we used to do. So that's okay. But if you tell on yourself, somebody will reach out and help you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
It's not gonna just be nothing. So
Yeah, there's no way. Okay, that I haven't had that surgery, but I might be having it. The doctor says he doesn't think I need it at this point, but I've heard it is like the most painful thing to go through. So,
but I made it through. I made it through with the help of other people.
right,
And
right.
I told everybody. All of my
Very good, very good. No, I'm just saying you would have suffered greatly if you had not been able to do that and take something. If you would have just said, "I'm not going to take anything," because I've heard horrible things. No, I've heard that surgery is extremely painful. The recovery is so painful.
And then
And
not only that, one other thing that I've been through in recovery is about almost 2 years ago. I was shaving one day, and I saw that right on the side of my neck here there was a little bump. I was like, what's this? So I'm watching it, and I thought maybe it was like a swollen lymph node, and it was gonna go away. 30 days passed, nothing happened. So I went to the doctor. Come to find out, it was a form of skin cancer that was underneath. So I got scared because when you hear that word, you automatically think death with it. And so
uh,
I went to the VA. I went to the VA and they checked me out and they did everything. And they said, do you have any questions? They said I had 3 options. I had surgery, chemo, radiation. They said you have to do 2 of them. Well, I was never an IV user. I don't like needles. I don't like being cut. So I'm like, surgery is off the table. I knew all right away. So I opted for chemo and radiation. My job, I have a really good job. I was off for like 6 months, 8 months, and they let me do it. I got a full paycheck. The VA paid for everything. And the nurse practitioner asked me, she says, Tim, do you have any questions? I said, yeah, I just have one question. And she said, what's that? I said, am I gonna die? She said, no, we're gonna get rid of this and you'll never have it again. And I said, okay, let's do it. And I was ready. Look, I want to show you this. This is my souvenir from when I had I was gonna destroy it. You see that?
let me put on my glasses. Oh, from from your radiation?
Yes, and it was white, but
Right.
I got a friend here in recovery who is an he's a professor at the school of the Savannah College of Art and Design, SCAD. SCAD, it's a big thing. You know, probably heard about SCAD. But anyway, I asked him, I said, hey, I said, would you do me a favor? He said, what's that? I said, I want you to paint this for me. He says, okay. He said, what color? I says, it doesn't matter. It just has to have some purple in it, which I saw your purple nails already. So anyway, uh,
I
so
put these on just for you.
you must have reached, see that connection, see that connection. So anyway,
Well, I didn't know, but purple is the recovery color, but that was just pure coincidental.
It is. So I was going to destroy this thing that was a part of my life that I lived through, right? And if it wasn't for recovery, I might not have lived through it. Being in recovery, I might not have lived through it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on my wall. So when people come to my house, which I don't have, nobody comes to my house anyway, I'll be the only one looking at it. It's going to be on the wall as a display. Just like my clean date thing I showed you yesterday. Every time when I come in my house,
your shadow box?
My door is over there. So over here on the wall is
so cool.
My thing. So when I come in my house, this is what I see, this wall, and there's my clean date. And that reminds me, if it wasn't for this, I wouldn't have this.
I love that. That is so amazing. I just got chills when you shared that with me yesterday. And just to touch on what you just said, nobody ever comes over. I got 3 welcome signs. Ain't nobody ever been here.
But you know what? It's okay. It's okay.
I mean, I exaggerate. My neighbor's been up here a few times, but the very first thing when you see outside of there's 5 of us in this old historical building, and it says "Welcome, Friends," and it's like the Friends design from the TV show.
Yeah.
And then then when you walk in and you're coming up the staircase to come to my studio apartment, because you got to go downstairs and then you go out the locked door and everything. I'm not part of anybody's, but there's staircase in my apartment.
Right.
And anyway, you counter 2 more welcome signs, and I laugh at that sometimes. I'm like, well, who am I welcoming? I'm welcoming myself.
Yes.
But no, I love that, but I didn't know, and I'm so sorry to hear that, but I do see the blessing in that, because like you said, if you hadn't been on the road to recovery, then you probably would have never got the help for it, and unfortunately, it may have taken your life, or what, I don't know, but it's all a blessing, and
giving up.
I didn't.
He told me. You know, and so, and I know, and I think another thing is, like, I go every 3 months. I go to Charleston, to the VA, and then I go here to Savannah to a clinic where they did the radiation. And you know what? They said they're gonna check me for 2 years. It's been 18 months now since my treatment has been over. Nothing. Every time I go, they put that little noodle down my nose and they look down there and they show me on the screen, nothing. You know, that's only a power greater than me. That's only a power greater than me.
Amen.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah, I didn't know they had gone through that. And the only reason I know what that mask is because just like maybe a month ago, a huge TikTok person that I follow was suddenly diagnosed with eye cancer, and she had to undergo the radiation. She was showing the mask getting made. It was identical to that, but it was white, of course. Otherwise, if I hadn't seen that, I wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
You know, when you showed it. Well, that's just an amen, a hallelujah right there.
Right.
I want to, you know, your dog.
Yeah.
Shadow.
Yes.
Is he near you?
Yeah, he's right here.
Do you want to show?
Shadow, say hi.
Hey, Shadow. Oh my gosh, shepherds are just amazing, and this is just going to be so ironic. The one and only German Shepherd I have ever owned, I bought in Savannah, Georgia.
Really?
Yes, I was visiting my father years and years and years ago. I named that German Shepherd Lexi, Lexxi.
Uh-huh.
And she was very territorial, very protective, and she was with us for probably 12 years, but she passed, and I get choked up thinking about that. But yeah, I bought her in Savannah, Georgia from people that actually, it was just all a happy accident, not a happy accident. I wasn't looking for a breeder, but my dad got the male of the two that were left and named that shepherd Sebastian. And I just fell in love while I was there, and I bought the other one, and it was the female, and we named her Lexi. But yeah, shepherds are just amazing, and so. But I wasn't going to let you get away without you showing me your dog.
Yeah, Shadow.
Hey, Shadow. Oh my gosh. Yeah, shepherds are just so loyal. So you had never had a dog before, you said?
I had a dog as a small kid, and he was like he was an adult dog already. Me and my sister didn't take care of him. We didn't pick up after him. We didn't do anything, and my mom didn't let us keep him very long. And I haven't had a dog, but I love dogs. I know so much about many breeds of dogs, and I actually wanted like a real big dog, like a cane corso or something. But those dogs are thousands of dollars. Actually, uh, Shadow was supposed to be about $1,400. That's what they were. That's what they started selling them at. That's what they were selling them at $1,400. And even though I had the money, I didn't want to spend that much money. And there was a lady in recovery, and she showed me her dog had 8 puppies. So then, as she got to know me, and she would hear me share at the meetings, and we would share on the daily meditation or whatever we shared on, she says to me, she knew I wanted a dog. I got a big backyard. I got a grapefruit tree in my backyard. Blows my mind every day. But anyway, she says, I'll give you one for $500.
Oh, wow. I was going to say I paid $600 for mine 20 years ago. That's amazing.
I said, what? Purebred. I got the AKC papers, everything. You know what I mean? Like, and I had the money. You know what I mean? Like, if I was using, I wouldn't have had the money. That money would have been gone. You know, it's just so many things that recovery has allowed me to do. I've registered him. I paid for the registration. I've taken him to the vet. You know, I buy good food for him, and we go on walks downtown sometimes. You know, so I mean, recovery has so many beautiful things. Now I have the unconditional love of a beautiful animal.
That's right.
So, I mean, like,
Shadow. What a
it
beautiful name.
does not get better. And somebody told me to watch him for a couple days. And then, because I didn't know what I was going to name him. My mom really doesn't even like dogs. But I went, and the next day after I got him, she asked me, she said, she sent me a text message with some dog names. And one of the names was Shadow. And because she really doesn't care for animals, but she was willing to take the time out of her day without me asking, she came up with all these names. And I watched him, and everywhere I went, he was there. I go to the bathroom, he's there. Anything I do, if I move positions on the couch, he'll get up and he'll turn, and he just wants to look at me. Shadow.
Well, yeah, and he's looking at you and looking after you, and you know, it's just all a beautiful story. I love it.
Uh-oh.
I just turned on comments. That's what I'm going to start doing
Shadow.
at the end of each live in case anybody wants to ask any questions. There's not really anybody in here, but I know it does turn off people, you know, when comments are turned off. But again, I do this here so that I can save it. And, you know, we never know who we might touch, you know, while these people have been coming in and out. And then I share it onto my YouTube. But it's just amazing because we never know who we're going to touch. And that's what this is all about. It's not any personal glory. It's my mission to inspire at least one soul out there. And I already got feedback immediately after the live last week. And, you know, that me and the previous guest had touched someone, and they shared a little bit of their story, a couple of people, but we don't always know who we're touching. So I may not, and this is not to receive feedback, but I just thank you so much for being with me. I guess, well, here we are. We're coming up on an hour here. So I will ask you what I think I'm going to ask at each end of each live is, Uh, do you have any words of wisdom you would like to share with anybody listening right now?
Well, you know, I wanted to say no because my self-esteem wants to tell me you're not wise, right? My disease thinking wants to say you're not wise, so you don't have any words of wisdom. But I can share a message, right? I can
Okay.
share,
Whatever you want to call it. I don't know why.
and my
Maybe
message,
I'll change that up.
my message is
Okay, I like
that
that.
anybody who watches this, that one of my sayings is it can always be worse. So no matter what I go through each day, if I have a bad day or a good day or a few bad moments or whatever the case might be, I always have to remind myself that it could be worse. And I sometimes, and that gives me gratitude to show to that it isn't any worse, because who's to know what we can and what we can't handle, right? Only the man above knows what we can and we can't handle, you know. But I would just say that also to, just put a little bit of effort, a small portion of the effort that I used a small portion of the effort that I used to get high and to get drunk and to use other substances. I used a small portion of that to get started. And that took me a long way. And once that small portion got me 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, and I started feeling positive about myself. Come here, Shadow. And so once I started feeling positive about myself, then that gave me the confidence to invest a little bit more, and then it just grows and grows and grows. And before you know it, you're on a Instagram talking about recovery with somebody that you admire from afar. You see what I mean? See what it's done for me?
That's yes, yes. And we actually touched. I don't know if you got to watch much of the live from
I
last week,
did.
but yeah, we touched on that about just putting half that energy into it, and because we did, we worked really really hard at the addiction,
Yes.
and no, yeah. So gratitude, you just touched on that, and I did go peep your bio so I can learn a little bit about you right before we came on here, and I loved that you just mentioned that, because I remember reading that about it could be worse and to practice gratitude. I think I read that in your bio,
Yeah.
but I read that, and that's how I found out about Shadow, because I scrolled down a little bit and found out the name of your dog. But I gratitude, yeah, that's so so important. And to me, I just think gratitude makes everything better. So
It,
I wake up every morning, I go to bed every night. I mean, I literally itemize when I'm thanking God for everything. I mean, I don't point, but I'm listing them out because I'm just such a fanatic about every little single thing. I want him to know I don't take any of it for granted. I say my health, my life, my car, my job, my phone, my food, my clothing. And although I know it's not technically mine, it's in my possession right now. And
mm,
thank you for making all
I,
these things
yeah,
possible. I mean, I'll get down to the nails. And then I think yesterday or the day before, I thanked him for you being there. And it's like, I'm just like so specific. I just do not ever say, thank you for everything. But that's okay if you do. But
that's right.
gratitude just makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so I know we got to wrap this up. It's 8:30 now, but thank you so much, and I know we'll be talking more and more again. Just thank you for being my second guest.
Where was this shocking question or whatever you were saying? Well, is there anything off limits? There is nothing that you asked me that was off limits. Did I answer the question?
No, the thing is this is really just a flowing conversation,
Right.
but I have to ask, is there anything off limits? Because although my previous guest said there was absolutely nothing off limits, I caught her off guard with
Yeah.
something I asked. I don't know what I asked, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
caught her off guard. And so, and I'm glad that I had asked before that live, is there anything off limits? She said, nope. But then it did seem like it caught her a little bit off guard, but I didn't know. And so I just covered my bases. Whereas I've got a couple professionals coming on, and we didn't even get to finish talking. So I hope you'll be a guest again. But we really
Yeah.
focused on your story. Okay. Yeah, I
You
would love
know,
for you to be a guest again. Um, but and you kind of tie into that because of the peer work that you do. But I do have several professionals lined up that's just strictly if they're not in recovery. And so the dynamic with that is they do need the questions up front because they've, got these professional
Yeah.
licenses and they're literally doing this on a day-to-day basis. So and this is all training me to get my podcast started. And so this is all a learning curve for me. But no, I didn't think I was really going to ask you anything earth-shattering, but I wanted my bases covered in case I triggered you in any way, and I don't want to trigger anybody. So, but it can happen. You can just
Yeah.
ask the most routine question, and it could trigger someone.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
but yes, I will.
I'll deal with trauma, and you know what? No matter what, another thing I would say is, I was never one of the ones that always, you always hear somebody's story where they had the physical or the sexual or emotional abuse. I was never abused as a kid. I had a great childhood. You know what I mean? But
Oh wow, that's amazing.
a great childhood. You know what I mean? I had a great childhood. But you know what? For those people that might have any type of trauma, start working on it. Chip away at it. Chip away at it. I'm going to share this with you too, real quick. When I went to treatment, there was a guy who ran the program. He was a PhD, right? So he tells us. He used to tell us that everybody has a bag of shit that they walk around with. A bag of shit. In this bag, it's this invisible bag. In this invisible bag is where we stuffed our feelings, our emotions, when we were hurt, when we were disrespected, when we were felt violated. We stuff all these feelings in this bag, and this is our bag of shit. He says when we go through recovery, our job is to lighten that bag, to empty that bag, if you will, because he said the stuff around the edges may have been from childhood. It might be a little harder, like rock. You might have to chip away at it a little bit more to get it out of that bag. You know what I mean? Some of the stuff could be fresh where somebody cut you off in traffic and you might have flipped them off. You know what I'm saying? So it varies in what we stuff in this bag, the feelings and emotions and stuff. And we need to clear that bag, because you know what, even though somebody says, oh, I don't have any baggage, we all have a little bit of baggage.
Well, I've actually never heard anybody say that, but I will say that I'm glad that you brought up that you had a wonderful childhood, because I was actually thinking about that a few days ago. Just something came to my mind that, wow, there's actually people that, go down the road of addiction and that had a normal upbringing because they were happy. They were happy children.
Yeah.
You can't say that, oh, you had a broken home, which I did, and you didn't get this from mom and you didn't get this from dad or whatever. There are actually people that are struggling with addiction that had these wonderful, happy childhoods. So nobody is immune.
Right.
And addiction does not discriminate. But I didn't know that was your story. So it's like, wow, I could say that I actually personally know somebody that had a happy childhood and found themselves in addiction. And wow.
Yeah.
So that's just, I'm so glad that you said that. So for anybody out there listening or anybody that watches this in the future, just know addiction does not discriminate. And, it can happen. And, someone with a happy childhood like yourself, you may be a little more hesitant to ask for help because,
Right.
well, I should be happy. I don't have anything to blame it on.
That's right.
And
That's
yeah,
right.
it sounds like you went through that.
I sure did. And it's just, it's just amazing the things that we can learn from other people, because I've learned a lot from other people, even people who have had some form of abuse in their lives. I've learned that we can all heal, because I've seen people heal. I've seen women lose their children through DCFS, and they closed their case and told them that they were not going to get their children back. And after continuing to come to the meeting and sharing and crying, and their case was opened and they got their kids back. You know what I mean? I've seen this. I've experienced the death of two close family members and I was in recovery. And that was going to be my invisible bus ticket, my reservation to say, you know what, if my grandmother dies or if this person dies, I'm going to get high. Well, you know what? They died.
Oh my God.
You know,
Everybody, we all do that. And
my,
I didn't,
my,
oh my God.
my aunt died of cancer. She had died. She had 25 years sober. She went to AA. She was my biggest cheerleader. You know what? She used to tell me in the beginning, before I even found recovery, she says, Tim, she says, we have room for you over here. Why don't you come be with us? And I honestly told her, I said, I'm not ready. I said, I'm not ready. And I was honest with her. I wasn't ready. But she passed away first, before my grandmother. And in my mind, I said, you know what? If I go and I use, that would be a slap in her face. That would be a slap in the face of my grandmother, who got to see me clean for more than 18 years. You know what I mean? I would not disrespect those people and the memories of them like that.
Oh
Shadow.
wow.
You know, I would not do that. I would not.
How that's so powerful. One last thing. How is your relationship with your mother?
Oh, we love each other. Me, my mother, and my sister, we're all the same sign. I go see my mother 2 or 3 times a week. You know, I was gonna go over there after this to try to help her get her fire stick working. You know, and my mother love each other. I cook for her, she cooks for me. But I'm gonna tell you something. My mother does drink. But
Okay.
but I can't say that she has a problem. You know,
Oh.
had to admit that
Okay.
ourselves, right? But I love her anyway. And before, and another reason why, when I had the small relapse, I used to drink with my mother and my grandmother. My mother used to tell me, "Oh, Tim, go get us a 40 ounce or go get this," you know. And when I got out of treatment the first time, I didn't think it was anything wrong with going to the liquor store, buying my mother some beer. So you know what? When I eventually did relapse that one time, and I went through treatment again, and I came back out, and I told my mother at that point, I said, Mom, if you want something to drink, you got to go get it yourself. I didn't want to touch it. I didn't want to touch it. I didn't want to be around it. I see people now, they say, oh, well, I went in the liquor store to buy some cigarettes. You know, the gas station sells cigarettes. You can buy cigarettes so many other places. You don't have to or to buy cigarettes. You know what I mean? And my last word of wisdom that I got to give you, this is key. If you don't pick it up, you don't have to worry about putting it down.
Oh my gosh, I love
Never
that.
pick it up.
If you
I'm,
don't pick it up, you don't have to worry about putting it down.
if I walk by and I see $100 bill on the ground and I pick it up, right now, it has control over me, because now I'm going to say, oh, think of all the things I could buy with that $100 bill, right? But if I don't pick it up, I won't have to worry about putting it down. I won't have any other consequences after, because I didn't pick it up. I didn't say, give in to the person that says, oh, just have one. You know what? The last person that said to me, oh, just have one. I said to him this. I said, you know what? I said, I'll have just one. I says, but if I have that one, you have to promise to pay my bills, pay all of my bills, and completely take care of me for the rest of my life. Because when I have one, it goes into something else. It goes in, and they looked at me like this, and I'm like, yeah. So if you want
They
me to
don't
have
get
this
it.
one, as
They
long
don't
as you're
get
going to
it.
take care of me and be responsible for what I'm going to do after I have that, then yes, I'll have one. But I just don't.
Wow.
I
That's
don't.
powerful. That's deep.
I don't want to open any doors.
So, I mean, but you don't have any cravings now, right?
Absolutely not.
Okay, okay.
Love playing pool. I go downtown to this bar and I play pool all the time. And you know what? I've become friends with the bartenders and the bouncers. We talk all the time. So I don't even pay. Like they let me in the place free. I'll go downstairs to where I'm gonna play pool, and I walk over to the bar, and the girl sees me over there. She'll just go get it. She gives me cranberry and orange juice. Cranberry and pineapple juice, whatever. And she'll say, oh, you need one? I was like, yeah. And they give it to me. There's never any alcohol in it. They never charge me, but I give them money for a tip just because I appreciate them, and that's the
Oh,
job, you know. So I give them, and I only have like 2, maybe 3 tops in a night that I'm playing pool, and I go there and I play pool with anybody. They could be drinking people. It doesn't matter. But I'm just there because I love playing pool. And if I could, I would put a pool table in my garage because I don't use my garage. So I would put
Oh, okay.
it in my
You should
garage.
do
But
it then.
yes, listen. You think I can't? Listen, he will allow me to do it. He will allow me to do that. If that's what I want to do, I'm going to do it. But yeah.
And I think you should. And with the not having cravings, it's like we get to a point in our recovery to where that's not the first thing on our mind, whereas the first year or so it may have been the first thing on our mind. So we don't do all the work we do, so we have nothing to show for. I mean, that's what we have to show for.
Yes.
And so yeah, so all right, well, I can't thank you enough, and we will be meeting again. Maybe we'll go over the peer stuff next time.
Oh yes. That peer stuff it's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, because maybe that'll be a part 2, and we'll go over that because that will be good for people to know that there is life after addiction, and that these are some of the avenues you can take and help others just like we're doing.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I'm going to the Georgia Council on Substance Abuse is having the Georgia School of Addiction Studies. They're having they have it here every year, and they're having all of these workshops and stuff that you get CEUs and stuff for.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the keynote speakers, they always have somebody that's like, top of the world. Well, this year, their keynote speaker is Lou Gossett Jr.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. I'm going.
When is it?
It's the end of August, the August 28th to September.
Oh wow, okay. So you're going?
1st. Oh yes, and you know what? Being the company that I work for is their main business is a treatment center, and they have all kinds of medically assisted treatment, all this stuff. But anyway, all I had to do, and it costs like $500 a day if you want to go to these things. All I had to
yeah, they're expensive. I know that. Yeah, I've only been when I've had scholarships paid for them.
Well, check this out. All I had to do was write down what ones I want to attend. They've paid for it already. I come out of my pocket with $0.
That's amazing.
$0. It's beautiful. I mean, I can't ask for more. And I'm going to get to educate myself and learn more about the thing that tried to kill me. I used to go around and look and see I used to treat my addiction, my disease, like it was a sniper. So when I go outside, I would try to keep the red dots off me. Like everywhere I go, there would be red dots, right? That laser on me. So I move around to keep the red dots off me because I didn't want my disease to take me out.
Gotcha. Oh, wow. That's deep.
I use a lot of analogies.
I love it. No, but people need that. And some of the ones that you shared, helped me because I wouldn't have, some of the, I don't remember what they were, but it was like, wow, I never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
And people need analogies. So, oh, well, thank you. And tell Shadow I said good night.
All right, come here.
Oh, is he still there?
Good night, Shadow.
Good night, Shadow. Good night. All right, thank you so much, and you have a wonderful evening.
Welcome.
We'll be talking soon.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.